Have you ever looked at your shopping receipt and just wondered, why? Why does your toothpaste, that new phone you're saving up for, or even your insurance cost what it does? Well, hold on, because the price of pretty much everything is about to get a massive shakeup.
The answer is the Goods and Services Tax, or GST, and it is gearing up for the biggest overhaul it's seen since day one. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this GST 2.0 is all about, and more importantly, what it means for your wallet and for the country. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look back at the original dream of GST. Then, we'll dive into the cracks that started to show. After that, it's all about the big overhaul, GST 2.0. We'll see how it could impact your day-to-day life, and finally, we'll look at the big challenges that stand in the way. Ready? Let's get into it.
All right, Section 1, the original promise. To really get what's happening now, we need a quick rewind to see what the big idea was in the first place.
Okay, so picture this. It's 2017, and India launches its biggest tax reform ever. The idea was actually pretty brilliant. Instead of a total spaghetti junction of different taxes from the central government and the states, we'd get one single, unified tax. The grand vision? One nation, one tax, one market.
I mean, just look at the old system. It was a maze, right? You had central excise, service tax, VAT, the list goes on. GST was meant to just sweep all of that away into one bucket, a huge step towards making things simple. But, as it turns out, the reality got a little messy. Which brings us to Section 2, a system full of cracks. That simple idea of one tax started to get complicated, and that's where the problems began. So instead of that one single rate, we ended up with 5. We've got 0% on absolute essentials, but then it climbs all the way up to a whopping 28% for things like cars and TVs. And this complexity, well, it led to some pretty bizarre situations. And this is where things get, honestly, a little ridiculous. Get this, plain popcorn gets taxed at 12%. But if you add a little caramel to it, bam, the tax jumps to 18%. I mean, is caramel a luxury good now? These kinds of arguments created absolute chaos for businesses. And the popcorn problem was just the tip of the iceberg. Small businesses were getting buried in paperwork. Plus, a long list of exemptions meant businesses couldn't always claim back the taxes they'd paid. And guess who ultimately pays that hidden cost? You do. It became clear that the system needed a major reset. And that brings us to Section 3. Enter GST 2.0. To fix all those cracks, a brand new plan is on the table, and it's all about finally getting back to that original dream of simplicity. Okay, this is the heart of the whole thing. The proposal is to collapse those 5 rates into just 2 for most items, a 5% rate for essentials and an 18% standard rate for, well, almost everything else. Then for things like tobacco or maybe even private jets, so-called sin or luxury goods, there's a plan for a new, much higher 40% tax. It's a radical simplification. Section 4, the impact on your wallet. Now for the part you've really been waiting for. What does all this actually mean for you, for businesses, and for the economy as a whole?
First off, your monthly bills could actually get smaller. A whole bunch of everyday items that are currently in the 12% tax bracket, think soap, toothpaste, certain packaged foods, are expected to drop down to just 5%. That's real money back in your pocket every single month.
And for small businesses, oh, this is a total game changer. Simpler taxes mean fewer headaches and less money spent on accountants. A single pre-filled tax form means way less paperwork. It would free up so many entrepreneurs to focus on what they actually do best, building their business. Zooming out, we could see a major boost across some huge sectors. Small cars and two-wheelers could see their tax rates slashed from 28% down to 18%. Your health and life insurance premiums could literally plummet. Even eating out could get cheaper. The basic idea is lower prices should fire up demand everywhere. And the scale we're talking about here is just massive. Some analysts are estimating that these cuts could put an extra 2 to 3 lakh crore rupees back into the hands of consumers every single year. That's a powerful stimulus for the entire economy.
So when people have more money to spend and businesses are doing better, what happens? The whole economy gets a shot on the arm. The thinking is that these reforms could add about 0.5% to India's annual GDP. That might not sound like much, but for an economy our size, that is a huge deal. But, and you knew there was a but coming, it's not going to be easy.
Which leads us straight into our final section, the big hurdles on the road. because a plan this ambitious is bound to hit some serious speed bumps.
The number one hurdle is politics. You have to understand, for state governments, GST is their single biggest source of revenue. We're talking over 40% of their income. So when the central government comes along and says, hey, let's cut tax rates, the first thing a state leader thinks is, whoa, how are we going to pay our bills?
So the challenges are very, very real. You need a 75% supermajority of states to agree to this. That's a really high bar. The central government itself is looking at a massive revenue hit, at least in the short term. And then there's the sheer technical nightmare of getting every single piece of software in the country updated by the 2025 target. It is a monumental task.
So when you boil it all down, it's this. GST 2.0 has the potential to finally give us that good and simple tax we were promised, one that saves us money and grows the economy. But getting there means navigating an absolute minefield of politics, finance, and logistics.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. The goal is a simpler tax for a stronger India. Everybody wants that. But can the country's leaders agree on the price of that simplicity? It's going to be a fascinating, high-stakes debate to watch.
If you found this explanation useful, do us a huge favor and hit that like button. Share this with your friends, and of course, subscribe to India Explained. This is where we make sense of the big stuff. And don't forget to drop your thoughts on GST 2.0 in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.